All right, hello clinic owners, hello doctors. Let's be honest for a second. Is the retail side of your practice, well, is it more of an afterthought than a real growth engine? If that sounds familiar, then you are in exactly the right place. We are going to dive deep into how you can totally transform your clinic just by mastering retail and turn it into a powerful, seamless extension of the amazing services you're already delivering.
So, here's our game plan for today. We've broken it down into 4 key areas. First up, we're going to completely reframe how you think about retail. Then, we'll get into the numbers, the powerful financial case. After that, we'll walk through the playbook for building the right partnerships. And to wrap it all up, we're going to tackle what might be the biggest hurdle of all, really unlocking your team's potential.
All right, let's jump right into section 1. And honestly, this is the most critical piece of the entire puzzle. It all starts with your mindset. Because, look, successful retail, it's not about adding some new commercial thing to your clinic. It's really about fundamentally deepening the level of care you're already providing to your clients.
So I want you to think about this for a second. You perform an absolutely amazing treatment. Your client looks in the mirror, they're thrilled, right? The results are fantastic. But what happens a week later or 2 weeks later? Without the right at-home care, those incredible results you worked so hard for, they start to fade. And pretty soon, the client might start thinking, that treatment didn't really last. And that is exactly why retail isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a clinical necessity.
And this quote right here from Dr. R.A. Massadutti, it just hits the nail on the head. It completely flips the script on what selling means in a clinic. He frames it perfectly. This isn't about pushing products. It is your professional responsibility to make sure your client can maintain and even enhance the results you just achieved for them.
And that's what leads us to this idea of the prescription mentality. Think about it this way. A product recommendation shouldn't ever be an afterthought. Oh, by the way, no. It has to be a systematic, absolutely non-negotiable step in your treatment plan. It should be just as routine as giving post-procedural instructions.
Okay, so we've talked about the mindset shift, but how does this actually help build your business? Well, here's the exciting part. When you start approaching retail as a genuine extension of care, you suddenly unlock this massive, often completely untapped profit engine for your clinic.
And the why behind it is, well, it's brilliantly simple. 56%. Just look at that number. That's the typical gross margin on a retail product. Let that sink in for a moment. For every single product you sell, more than half of that money can be gross profit. Now, just for a second, compare that to the margins on your services, and suddenly the opportunity here becomes crystal clear, doesn't it?
Okay, let's break that down even more. On the services side, you've got really high labor costs, right? They can eat up anywhere from 45 to 60% of your revenue. And what does that do? It crushes your margins. But retail? It's the complete opposite. You've got super low labor costs, those incredible high margins we just talked about, and this is key, it's scalable. You can literally sell 10 products in the same amount of time it takes to perform one single treatment. So how do you actually capitalize on this? Well, it all starts with your physical space. Please, don't hide your products away in some dusty corner. You need to create an elegant, almost boutique-like display and put it right near the reception area. Make it an experience. Have testers out. Use clear signs that talk about the benefits, not just the features. You want to make your clinic a destination not just for treatments, but for expert-curated solutions. Okay, so you've got the new mindset, you see the huge financial upside, but the big question is, how do you actually execute? How do you make it happen? Well, that brings us to our partnership playbook, because here's the thing, a successful retail operation, it never, ever happens in a vacuum. I want you to think of your retail strategy like a 3-legged stool. It's a simple but powerful idea. The first leg? That's your team. They have to be engaged, educated, and motivated. The second leg is your suppliers. They can't just be vendors. They have to be true partners who are aligned with your brand's quality and philosophy. And the third leg, of course, is your clients. You have to be actively listening and truly understanding their needs. And just like a real stool, if any one of those legs is weak or missing, the whole thing just collapses. So let's map this out onto the actual client journey. The whole process needs to feel completely natural, just like getting a prescription. It's 3 simple steps. First, during the service, you diagnose a specific need. Second, you take a moment to educate your client on why an at-home solution is so critical for them. And finally, when they're at the checkout, you prescribe the specific product that solves that problem. See how that works? It creates a flow of expert advice, not a pushy sales pitch. And that actually leads us perfectly into our final and, I would argue, maybe the most important section of all. Because you can have the best products in the world, you can have the most brilliant strategy,
But if your team isn't comfortable and on board, none of it will work. It's the ultimate deal breaker. We have to unlock their potential by helping them overcome some very real psychological barriers.
And this right here, this is the #1 obstacle every clinic owner faces. It's the fear of selling. Your practitioners, they are highly skilled experts in providing care, right? They're not trained in commerce. So they often resist recommending products because they're terrified of coming across as pushy or, cheapening the amazing clinical experience they just delivered. And let's be clear, that fear is 100% understandable.
So how do you break through that fear? How do you get them past it? Well, this analogy is absolutely key. It completely reframes their entire role. You have to help your team understand that not recommending the right solution is actually a disservice to the client. It's a failure of their professional duty. It is exactly like a doctor diagnosing a problem and then letting the patient leave without writing the prescription they need.
And what this means practically is you need to change the goal. You have to stop measuring success purely by sales volume. Instead, I want you to set a new KPI, a new goal. 100% of clients who have a diagnosed need should leave with a professional recommendation. It's that simple. And when you do that, suddenly the entire focus shifts. It goes from commerce to the completion of care. And that is so empowering for your team because now their goal is about service quality, not hitting some scary sales target.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. What is the true cost? Not just in money, but to your clients' results, to their loyalty, and ultimately to your clinic's bottom line. What is the true cost of not prescribing the right solution every single time? Because I promise you, when you start seeing retail as the final, absolutely critical step in your service, everything changes.